Hi, my name is Logan and I'm from Augusta, Maine. I'm 33 and a few months back I experienced what revenge actually feels like after putting up with all the BS a person puts you through. In my case, it was a fellow project manager who had been pestering me for quite a while, but I finally managed to put him through his own dirty little game. Looking back, it is kind of surreal to think about where I started and where I am now. I grew up in this peaceful neighborhood in Augusta, where everyone knew each other and ambition often felt like a foreign word. My family was not exactly rolling in cash, but they worked hard and made sure we were comfortable. They never let me miss out on any opportunity to learn. Even though I loved my home with all my heart, I always had this dream that I would do something big and something that would take me far beyond the dusty roads of my hometown. I was a pretty nerdy kid growing up, and the books that scared everyone else never put me off. In fact, I quite enjoyed them. There were plenty of distractions, but I kept my eyes on the prize, and for me that prize was a Yale degree in business administration and computer science. Those were some of the most intense years of my life, filled with late-night study sessions, challenging exams, and a fair share of socializing, but they were also some of the best as well. The journey to Yale, however, was not easy. My parents sacrificed a lot to help me get there. I remember late nights when my mom would stay up with me, quizzing me on flashcards, or my dad working overtime to cover tuition costs. Their dedication fueled my own, and I knew I could not let them down. Yale was everything I had hoped it would be. The campus was beautiful, the professors were inspiring, and I met people from different parts of the world as well as life. I dove headfirst into my studies and balanced my passion for business with my love for technology. The workload was tough, but I thrived under the pressure. I joined study groups, participated in coding competitions, and even managed to squeeze in some fun on the weekends. Graduating from Yale was not just a dream come true, it was like stepping into a whole new world. Fast forward a bit, and I landed a job at one of the top software development firms in New York City. It was like a different planet compared to where I grew up in Maine. The hustle, the lights, and the constant buzz, it was everything I had imagined and more. At the company also, I did not just blend in, I made it my mission to stand out. I threw myself into every project, no matter how small or tedious. I was the guy who used to pull all-nighters to meet deadlines, and who used to come up with out-of-the-box solutions when things got tough. My ideas started to get noticed, and soon enough, I was recognized for my work. Most people at the company were great, and we clicked like family. But there were always a few who saw me as a threat. They used to throw shade my way and often tried to undermine my work, but I did not let it get to me and used to ignore it all, thinking that envy was just part of the package. And if you are not ruffling a few feathers, you are probably not doing much. I kept my head down, focused on what mattered, stayed loyal to the company, and got the position of project manager through the years. However, there was this guy at work, Mark, who had also become a project manager recently. We joined the company around the same time, and from day one, it felt like there was this unspoken rivalry between us. Not that I was looking for an enemy or anything nonsensical, I was just doing my thing. But Mark seemed to have made it his mission to see me fail. And the lengths he used to go to just to bring me down was hilarious. It was like his personal vendetta against me had no limits. He used to try all kinds of underhanded tactics to discredit me, but none of them stuck. First, there were these rumors. It started with small whispers around the office about how I supposedly got my projects handed to me because I was the boss's favorite. I used to hear snippets from people now and then, but I did not pay it much mind because, like I said, I thought if one is doing his job well, people will talk. But then, the rumors got more ridiculous. At one point, someone told me there was a story going around that I had somehow cheated on a big project by outsourcing it to freelancers without telling anyone. I was like, come on, anyone who knew me knew that was pure BS. But Mark did not stop there. He got a bit bolder and tried to sabotage my presentations. Subtle steps, like accidentally switching the files on the shared drive so I would end up with the wrong version of my slides right before a big meeting. The first time it happened, I was thrown off, but I managed to wing it and still impressed the clients. After that, I started triple-checking everything and keeping backups on my own devices. No way was I going to let him catch me off guard again. Mark was a smart guy, no doubt about it. He had skills, and he knew his work all too well. But for some reason, instead of focusing on his own path, he was always measuring himself against me. And with every achievement I racked up, it was like throwing gasoline on a fire. I remember one time, we were both working on proposals for new software solutions. Mine got picked, and he barely hid his frustration. congrats on getting your proposal picked again. Must be nice to always be the golden boy, huh? Thanks, Mark. I have put a lot of work into it. Come on, Logan. Do you really think it's all about the work? You have got everyone wrapped around your finger, always getting special treatment, always in the spotlight. He said it all with a laugh, like he was joking, but I truly knew what he meant. I just focus on doing my job the best I can. If people appreciate that, great. But I'm not here to compete with anyone. Yeah, sure. Keep telling yourself that. And that was followed by a meeting where we both were pitching ideas for an upcoming project. Mark's presentation was solid, but I guess mine struck a chord more with the executives, and so after the meeting, he cornered me in the hallway, trying to play it off as a joke, but the bitterness was all too real with his words. Logan, you should just wear a crown to these meetings, save everyone the suspense. It was pretty visible that he was forcing a laugh. I just shrugged it off, but I knew he was fuming inside. Well, remind me about it later, Mark. See you then. All this piled up, and then at the office Christmas party last year, he blew up. We were all having a good time, a few drinks in, and Mark decided to get a little too honest. You think you are so great, don't you, Logan? Just because you kiss up to the bosses and finish projects on time? He was slurring, loud enough for a few colleagues to hear. Mark, it is a party. Let's not get into this right now. I tried to make him understand, but he was not ready to listen. No, I want to say this. Everyone thinks you are perfect, but you are just a suck-up, that's all. I'm sorry you feel that way, Mark. But tonight is about celebrating, not arguing. How about we get you some water and sit down for a bit? It was awkward, to say the least, and I tried to diffuse the situation, but he stormed off before I could do anything. It was weird because, on paper, we should have been allies. We had similar backgrounds and similar goals, but for Mark it had always been a competition, and instead of using that competitive spirit to better himself, he had turned it into resentment. Despite all his efforts, I tried to stay focused on my work, because I despised getting dragged into office drama and was trying my best not to be a part of it. My approach was simple: keep my head down, do my job, and let my results do the talking. If Mark wanted to waste his energy on petty schemes, that was his problem, not mine. But I would be lying if I said it did not bother me at all. It was so exhausting dealing with someone who was actively trying to see you fail. But I had learned that people like Mark were not worth the stress, and the best revenge was success, as they say. So I kept doing my thing, stayed professional, and pushed forward. Now, the latest drama kicked off after I finished this big project ahead of schedule with my team. It was a real beast of a project, but we put in the hours, made a few sacrifices, and managed to pull it off. The higher-ups were thrilled, and I got some serious praise, but I could feel Mark's eyes burning holes in me from across the office. After that project, Mark really outdid himself in the sabotage department. We had just landed a huge client, one of those game changers that everyone in the company wanted a piece of. There was a lot of buzz about who would get to handle it, but we knew it would eventually land on me or Mark. I could see the tension in his eyes every time the project was mentioned, but in the end, the higher-ups decided to hand it to me, probably because of my track record with my previous project. After I was handed the project, Mr. Thompson, our CEO, personally invited me to his office to discuss some major details since it was such a big deal for the company. I got an email from him, inviting me to his office for a chat. It was pretty unusual to get a personal invite from the CEO, so I felt a mix of excitement and nerves as I headed there. Mr. Thompson, you wanted to discuss the project? Yes, I did. First off, congratulations on being selected to lead this. It is a major deal for the company, and I have full confidence in your abilities to see it through. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the trust you have placed in me. Logan, this project is critical for us. The client is high profile, and a successful outcome could open many doors. I wanted to discuss a few key points and expectations to ensure everything goes smoothly. Of course, sir. I'm all ears. Mr. Thompson outlined the project's scope, emphasized the importance of timely delivery, exceptional quality, and maintaining strong communication with the client for the next hour, and I listened and took notes. As you know, this client has high standards, and so do we. I need you to assemble your best team, stay on top of every aspect, and keep me updated regularly. We can't afford any missteps. I understand, sir. I will make sure we exceed their expectations. I have seen your work, Logan, and I know you are capable. That is why I'm putting my trust in you for this. And to show you how much this project means to us, I'm offering a $100,000 bonus if everything goes well and smoothly." "Wow, sir. That is incredibly generous. I promise I won't let you down." "I know you won't, Logan. Consider this an investment in your future with the company. We value your dedication and hard work." "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I will do everything in my power to make sure this project is a success." "I have no doubt." "Let's make this happen." "Absolutely, sir. Thank you for this opportunity." The project was now in my hands, but that decision did not sit well with Mark, not one bit. He was practically fuming. What happened was, on the day of the meeting, Mark was acting weird. I will never forget the look on his face that day. It was a mix of nerves and anticipation, like he was a kid about to pull off some ultimate prank, and now that I think about it, it fits perfectly well. He must have thought that he was being slick, but I had already started to catch on to his antics. I had seen him lurking around my office more than once, and I had a feeling he was up to no good. Then, later in the afternoon, I had stepped out of my office to grab one last cup of coffee before the meeting and had left my USB drive on the desk. When I got back, there was Mark, trying to look casual as he loitered nearby. He glanced up, gave me a forced smile, and shuffled away. I walked into my office, and one look at my desk told me something was off. My USB drive felt slightly different in my hand, and just weirdly lighter, maybe, plus mine was a bit scratched up while that seemed brand new. That was all I needed to confirm my suspicions. Still, I took a look all around and decided to check it thoroughly once, and the second I plugged in that USB drive and saw the corrupted data, I knew Mark was behind it, and I was right. Mark was thinking he came up with what he must have thought was a foolproof plan to finally bring me down. Everyone in the office knew I always kept a USB drive with important files on me. It had everything in it, my presentations, reports, you name it. I guess Mark had been biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And the best opportunity he saw was when I had gone to grab my coffee. The guy must have been proud of himself, thinking he had finally outsmarted me. But little did he know, I was always a few steps ahead. I had started backing up all my important files to the cloud for some time. I played it cool though and pretended I had not noticed anything and returned to my work. I could have cleared my name right away by showing everyone my backup, but where's the fun in that? I saw this as an opportunity to finally expose Mark for the snake he was, and so I played along. When the day of the meeting arrived, I deliberately plugged in the corrupted USB drive in front of everyone. Error messages popped up on the screen, and I could feel the tension in the room. But I kept my cool. I quickly accessed my cloud backup, and the meeting went off without a hitch. The client left happy, and the higher-ups were none the wiser. But the real game was just beginning. I knew Mark was probably somewhere nearby, outside the meeting room, waiting for the chaos to unfold. He was likely imagining the scene in his head about me fumbling with corrupted files, the client's disappointment, and the higher-ups' reprimands, and he must have probably even envisioned me getting fired, so that is exactly what I decided to feed him. After the meeting, I pulled Sophie aside. She was a solid coworker and someone I could trust. I asked her to spread some rumors about the data being corrupt and the meeting being a disaster. She gave me a puzzled look but agreed to help. After that, it did not take long for the office to start buzzing with speculation. Word spread fast about my supposed big mistake. Also, there was only me, Mr. Thompson, and some other high-level executives present at the meeting who knew how big of a success the meeting was, so I had no worries about facing any backlash. Over the next few days, I let the rumors simmer. I could see Mark getting more confident, thinking he had finally outsmarted me. He was practically glowing with satisfaction every time someone mentioned the supposed failure of the meeting. Little did he know, I was setting the stage for his downfall. I could see Mark reveling in the whispers, feeling like he had finally gotten one over on me, and he did not waste any time confronting me just to mock me. Tough break with that meeting, Logan. Heard it was a total disaster. Maybe you should have checked your files before presenting, huh? I played my part, acting frustrated and a bit defeated. Yeah, it was a rough one. I guess I should have been more careful. You know, it's about time you had a taste of failure. Everyone has been talking about it. Yeah, well, it happens to the best of us. Thanks for the concern, Mark. Always with the wisdom, huh? Face it, Logan, you finally screwed up, and it's about time someone else gets a shot. If that is how you see it. But I would not count myself out just yet. I have bounced back from worse. Well, this time you may as well get fired for messing up such a big project. Wait, did you even get paid this month? I got my $50,000 in the account from the previous project you see." He was flaunting his money and salary in full swing when suddenly Hannah, Mr. Thompson's secretary, came into my cabin and left Mark shaken. "Your bonus of $100,000 has been transferred into your account, sir. Mr. Thompson asked me to inform you personally." "Thank you so much, Hannah." After Hannah left, Mark just stood there, totally confused. He could not figure out how I got a $100,000 bonus instead of getting fired. He looked like a statue for a full minute. Once he snapped out of it, he asked how it happened. I just told him he would find out in a few days and walked away, leaving him standing there. What happened was, right after that meeting, I knew it was time to take things up a notch. I needed to get Mr. Thompson involved. So after telling Sophie to spread the word, I sat down at my desk and wrote an email to Mr. Thompson. I kept it professional but made sure to hit all the key points, and wrote something like this. "Hey, Mr. Thompson. I wanted to touch base regarding the recent client meeting. As you know, my USB drive data acted up, causing some unexpected issues. After reviewing everything, I have reason to believe that someone tampered with my USB drive. Given the severity of the situation and its potential impact on our operations, I propose a thorough investigation to uncover what happened. With regards, Logan." Then, I hit send and waited for the fallout. It did not take long before Mr. Thompson called me for a meeting the next day. The room was silent as I walked in and took my seat, and Mr. Thompson got straight to the point and asked me to explain what actually happened. I recounted the incident and lied a bit while describing that I had discovered the files were corrupted after the meeting when I did a full research. I made sure to subtly hint at Mark's involvement without directly accusing him, saying things like I had noticed some unusual activity around my office lately, and it had led me to suspect foul play. Mr. Thompson took this matter very seriously and promised to get to the bottom of it. "I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, Logan. This project is crucial for us, and we can't afford any sabotage. I will make sure we look into this matter thoroughly." "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I just want to ensure the integrity of our work and the trust of our clients." "Absolutely. We will conduct a security audit and review the logs and footage around your office. If there is any wrongdoing, we will get to the bottom of it." "I appreciate your support. I did not want to jump to conclusions without talking to you first." "You did the right thing, Logan. Transparency and vigilance are key to maintaining our company's image. Thank you for bringing this to light. I will keep you updated on our findings." "Thanks again, Mr. Thompson. I will get back to work and keep pushing forward with the project. Keep up the good work, Logan. We will get to the bottom of this, and I have full confidence in your abilities to lead this project successfully." Now, with the investigation underway and the rumors of my project meeting not going well being spread throughout the office, I acted a bit and played my part to perfection. I pretended to be anxious and distressed and paced around the office and threw in the occasional frustrated sigh. Very dramatic, I know, but it was not hard to sell. I just channeled all the irritation I had felt dealing with Mark's antics. Meanwhile, I knew that the security audit had started digging into the security logs, checking access records, and reviewing camera footage. They moved fast and did not mess around. Within a few days, I came to know that they had found clear traces of tampering on my USB drive. They went deep, scrutinizing every bit of evidence, and all signs pointed to Mark. And the evidence against him just kept piling up. The security footage showed him lurking near my office during those crucial moments when I stepped out, and they had nailed the IT logs. They confirmed his access to the files right before the big meeting. It was almost too perfect, like he wanted to get caught. I came to know all of this from Mr. Thompson, who had invited me for a word after a week into the investigation to reveal everything. "Logan, we have found some concerning evidence, but first, I want to thank you for your patience and professionalism throughout this process. It has not been easy, I'm sure." "I appreciate that, sir. It has been a tough week, but I understand the importance of getting to the bottom of this. Our security audit has been thorough, and the evidence is quite clear. We found traces of tampering on your USB drive, just as you suspected." I listened intently, keeping my expression neutral. "We also reviewed the security footage and the IT logs. The footage shows Mark lingering near your office at the critical time, and the logs confirm that he accessed the files right before the meeting." So, it was Mark. Yes, the evidence against him is conclusive. We will confront him with the findings in a few days. It is a serious breach of trust and conduct. Though I knew everything all too well, I decided to actually up. I always suspected he was behind this, but it's still hard to hear. I understand. Mark has been with us for a long time, but his actions left us no choice. We are still in the process of deciding everything, and the final verdict will be passed in a few days. Thank you, sir. I'm just glad it's over and we can get back to focusing on our work. Indeed. And Logan, I want to personally commend you for how you handled this entire situation. It speaks volumes about your character and professionalism. I appreciate that, Mr. Thompson. I will continue to do my best for the company. I have no doubt you will. Thank you, Logan. Let's put this behind us and look forward to achieving great things together. Absolutely, sir. Thank you for your support. Mr. Thompson praised me for my quick thinking, but was fuming with anger because Mark's actions could have resulted in a big loss had I not acted on time. He informed me that he would take action on it and that I could rest assured now. And also promised me that my $100,000 would soon be in my bank account. And that is how one thing led to another, and as soon as Hannah openly announced my bonus of $100,000 in front of Mark, I knew it was the perfect moment to strike, and that is exactly what I did. I just waited for Mr. Thompson to break the news of Mark's blunder to Mark himself. And he did. Exactly the next day. I got word that he had called Mark into his office the next morning for an explanation. Everyone in the office was on edge and curious about what had happened, and I played my part in solving their mysteries. The word spread quickly through the office suddenly how Mark had tried to sabotage this big project of mine and the company, and all about Mark's antics. The only difference was, now I was the one to spread it. My colleagues, who had been skeptical about the rumors at first, started to rally behind me when they pieced two and two together. Everyone knew in the office how much Mark envied me, and it was quite visible through his actions. So now they could see the whole truth, and there was no other way to justify it rather than Mark's jealousy and his malicious intent. Now they were laid bare for everyone to see. It was almost a relief to have it all out in the open. By the time he walked out of Mr. Thompson's office, it was clear he was done for. The office was silent, and everyone watched as Mark went to his cabin. No one said a word, but the looks on their faces said it all. Disappointment and a touch of pity. I came to know through some of my colleagues that Mr. Thompson had given Mark a week to wrap his projects and work up, and had asked him to leave after that, stating that there was no place for his dumb, envious actions in this company. Mark, on the other hand, avoided the whole office the entire day and had even left early from work that day. But the next day he cornered me in my office, fuming with anger. "Logan, we need to talk." "Sure, Mark. What's on your mind?" "You know damn well what is on my mind. You reported me to Thompson and got me fired. Do you have any idea what you have done?" "I did what I had to do, Mark. You tampered with my work and tried to sabotage me. You crossed a line. You think you are so righteous, don't you? Do you have any idea how this will affect me? My career? My life? You brought this on yourself, Mark. Your actions had consequences. I could not let it slide, not when you put the entire project at risk." Mark went on threatening me as if I were some high schooler who would get bullied by him. "You'd better take it back, Logan. Go to Thompson and tell him you made a mistake. Tell him it was not me, otherwise you will regret it." But I did not flinch. "I'm not backing down, Mark. You have had it in for me for a long time, and you finally got caught. It is time you take responsibility for your actions." His face was twisted in anger after hearing that I was not his puppet and would not do as he said. "You will pay for this, Logan. You have no idea who you are messing with. Threats won't change anything, Mark. You made your choices, and now you are facing the consequences. It's over." "You think you have won, Logan? This is not over. Not by a long shot." Mark knew that he was done for, and there was nothing I could do to turn it around, and even if I could, I would never. This served him right and was the fruit of his own actions. Throughout the week, Mark either stayed cooped up in his cabin or was either lashing out his frustration at his subordinates. He even wrapped up his work and his hung-up projects quickly to take his leave earlier than planned. Must have been because he was filled with embarrassment. Then as Mark left the office, I could not help but feel a mix of relief and satisfaction, thinking that all his scheming had finally caught up with him. Later, Mr. Thompson addressed the entire office, saying that the company had zero tolerance for this kind of behavior, and Mark's actions were unacceptable, and that's why he was no longer with the company. He also told everyone to take this as a reminder that integrity and respect are above everything else in the office. Even after Mark had gone, the office buzzed with the news for a few months or so. For me, it was not just about revenge, though. It was about setting things right and ensuring no one else had to deal with the same underhanded tactics, and I was proud that I had handled things the right way. Mark's downfall was the result of his own actions and had cost him a lot, while I was still thriving and now with $100,000 too.